Why, Uce? Welcome back to another episode of the Uce Podcast. I'm your host, Puni Moore. And this podcast for newcomers, new listeners, me and Queen, we go out there and we bring people brown skin excellence to educate our coconuts of what we were just talking about before I introduced Manufou here. Manufou is a sitting council in the city of Daly City. Are you current or previous?
Actually, I'm running for city
So
council.
you're running.
I got elected to the school board. Yeah, but I got elected 10 years on the school board in Daly City.
Nice. And that's honestly, that's my first, with the credential, your last name, Liaiga Anoa'i. So is Anoa'i your maiden name?
I'm married to an Anoa'i. Liaiga is my maiden name by way of
Mm.
Lauli'i. My actual last name is Mulitauaupele. I'm a Mulitauaupele.
So like Levi Mulitauaupele, really sunshine and the
Much
kids.
older of that crew. But yes,
Kind of
I'm
fun.
a Mulitauaupele from Lauli'i.
Oh, okay. Your uncle was a good preacher at the First Samaritan Gospel Pentecostal Church where I grew up from. And man, rest in peace, Pastor. But welcome to the platform. For me, Puni Moore, I'm curious. And as you can see, my logo, why, Uce? What made you get into this field that I don't see a lot of Samoans besides Fa'uma Molinga, getting into this field of the I guess it's politics side, as a sitting council. I mean, how did that all come about?
Yeah, I've been involved in the grassroots community, actually mobilizing our community for almost 40 years, over 30 years since I was 9. So born and raised in San Francisco, I've been in different pockets of leadership and exposed to that. I've been in leadership in schools and throughout college. And that was something that was ingrained in me through my mom, really. Actually, both my parents. My dad was a lay preacher in A'oa'o in our local ka'iki here in San Francisco. And that's how I met Ili Molinga. And so I became elected onto our school board in 2015, first appointed,
Wow.
and then I ran to keep the seat. And then I was reelected my last round in 2020. But I'm jumping into the fire and leaning in to look at a city council seat. And if elected, I will be the first female Pacific Islander to serve in that seat in the state of California.
Wow, man. That is so awesome. What made you decide to take on that fire? That's some serious stuff there,
I think we do it already. I think as Samoans, we're already immersed in a level of leadership.
Mm.
I'm also a Makai. I became an official Makai last year, went back to Sava'i, and I took on my mom's title. Papali'i is my mom's title, which has been transferred over to me. And her family is the Sulio Maliakoa family, Natuita Sina clan. So for me, I think that we're so entrenched in the Samoa culture. That's servant leadership. So we're already doing it. It comes naturally to us. And that level of leadership is, it's just innate qualities that we know a level of respect is in place, recognizing a level of hierarchy through our elders and through our matais. And that's the same structures that we look at when we're looking at government systems. And so if you become part of those systems, you navigate and you learn how those circles move. And it's very, very similar to our Samoa.
Really? That's crazy. I'm just in awe because I'm just like, wow, I've never met any councils from. First of all, I don't even know what is the purpose of a council. I'm straight up a coconut. I'm sorry. Like, what is that position? If you don't mind sharing with the coconuts.
Yeah, well, I'll start with the position that I currently sit in. So I was elected in 2015, and there are only 5 that have been elected in the state of California, 5 Pacific Islanders, and that have been elected to a seat in different levels of leadership. There's myself, There's another Samoan sister on another school board in another area of Daly City in the Bayshore District. We have a Tongan Fijian up in Fairfield, Sassoon, which is near our capital in California. And then we have Fotuali'i Fa'unga Molinga, who became an elected on the school board, Board of Education in San Francisco, but he also got elected to DCCC, which is the Democratic Central Committee out of San Francisco. So there's only us elected officials. And so for me, I ran for school board because I was already involved in all of my kids' schooling, heavily involved in the PTA. But I think one of the biggest highlights for me as a school board member was assisting our superintendent of public instruction at the state level, Superintendent Tony Thurman, to ensure that we see ethnic studies, that we were able to see curriculums and really to promote books that are about us in our classrooms, in learning circles and institutions. So those are things that mean something to me. And so when you want to make something happen, you have to look at the seats and the leadership that require for you to sit in to impact the change that you want to see. So I knew very clearly that if I wanted to see that change in the schools that my kids go to, and many of the kids that I believe in, I had to sit in that seat, and I ran for it and have been in it for 10 years. But the council is a different level of leadership. Those are individuals who oversee a city, a local entity, a local municipality. So to me, I'm already stepping into that circle and wanting to sit in that seat and already knowing the job well, at least for the 10 years I've been sitting on the school board, instituting policies. I wrote a climate justice resolution. It's the only climate justice resolution in my county. And I authored that as a school board trustee. And also with my colleagues on the board, we are the only elementary school district in our county that has workforce housing. We were losing teachers. So we wanted to make sure we could build housing to recruit and retain, quality educators and staff. So as I exit this year off the school board, I won't be running for reelection, but those are things that have just really resonated deep in my soul. So that's a little bit of a snapshot of what it looks like to enter into these seats of leadership.
It's a lot. You said a lot. I'm just like, wow. Where's so you obviously covered the bravery of where and the leadership part where this all came from. Is that something that mom or dad taught you, or that was just you just felt like like you said, you see you need a change. You got kids, you want things to where it can cater to our children, and you went ahead and found the right position and went ahead and did that.
Yeah, I will say our churches, we know that our churches, when our Samoans
Hmm.
first immigrated to America, our churches were our villages. And as I mentioned previously, my dad was a lay preacher. My dad was an Anoa'i. So I learned public speaking through church. When we have local kameki, when we have Easter, we're reciting, Bible verses, or you're chosen to pray, or you're chosen to do the launga. I found a level of comfort in speaking in front of large crowds because of church.
That's where the confidence came from.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's where the confidence was built, and it was built in a safe space.
Mm.
So, and then of course, my mom, as I mentioned, my dad for me was my first exposure to being a humanitarian. He was always helping people in need. He would see someone walking, an elderly person, he'd load them up in the car, and that was at a young age. He would make sure that if he saw someone hungry, he fed them. And those qualities or those actions and behaviors, very natural. Once again, very natural to us as Samoans
Correct.
and as Samoans and Pacific Islanders. So for me, my parents modeled that. And then there were a lot of role models in my community growing up in San Francisco and in my family that were wonderful examples for me to be able to gravitate and easily find my way in this space.
That's amazing. I see that you have a few programs that you were involved in that you were part of, and that now it's going on. I think I seen one of them was the Yi or the Yay.
Yeah,
Could
so I'm
Yi?
proud of you as well. So
Mhm.
many moons ago, I I'm born and raised in San Francisco, as I mentioned, but
Yeah.
I worked for Mayor Willie Brown. He was the first African-American mayor and also the first African-American Speaker of the House in California. But
Wow.
under many mayors before him, they established a program called MYEP. So it's the Mayor's Youth Employment Program.
Mhm.
And they didn't have anything like that in my city or my county. And so when I got on the board, several of my colleagues, we were talking about we need to make sure that we can create programs for our youth during the summer to have a job and get paid. And so, we worked hard on that. The pandemic hit. We got together. We raised some money with some folks that were really interested in supporting this initiative. And so YE was created. So myself with two other board colleagues were founding members of that initiative, and super proud because our organization also has Polynesian kids that were able to participate in the inaugural summer, which was last year, to be able to get compensated while also learning a trade or a business and building their skills.
Man, that's amazing. Because I also remember talking to Fauna, and he mentioned something about like in you guys' elementary in in the Northern California that you guys have like a Fasa Moa teaching and stuff like that. Is that?
Yeah, so Fasamoa Initiative was one of the projects that Fotuali'i Fa'aunga
Uh
did.
huh.
He was on the Board of Education in San Francisco. So I'm in Daly City, which is just a
Correct.
skip away. But
Hmm.
for the Fasamoa Initiative, it's just an amazing effort, which also has the dual immersion language for someone language programming. But that was a part of his brainchild while he was in that seat, along with other leaders in our San Francisco circle of Samoans. And so that program is still in place under the San Francisco Unified School District.
Wow. Okay. And do you have so you guys all work together? I'm assuming like all the polys and stuff with
Well, yeah,
along with other.
there's a lot of collaboration going on, and there's
Yeah.
just also a lot of folks that are really focused on the work that they do. And we just can't help but be proud of everyone elevating our people to another level.
You know what? For me being a coconut, why does it matter? You know what I'm saying? Why does it matter to take a stand to even like in these positions, these political positions that, I heard you say it too. Shout out to the FICA podcast, because that's where I got a lot of these information from. It's kind of like that shut up and dribble kind of thing. Our polys are kind of used to that, to just take orders and kind of just go about our way and be humble about things. I'm trying to have you, give us our coconuts the awareness of why all this matters to be in these seats. You know what I'm saying, for change, instead of us just like, I don't want to vote. 'Cause, a lot of times, a lot of our polys don't won't end up voting because we feel like there ain't no change. So, does that make sense?
Representation matters for a variety of reasons. For
Mm.
me, as a woman of color, for me as an older woman now, as I'm become a senior citizen, and for me being an elected official, these are all spaces that we don't see ourselves in.
No.
And so when I see a young brown girl, and this has happened to me multiple times, and I'm grateful for these experiences, when they see me speaking at a conference or on a panel or on a podcast like tonight, and they hear me tell my story, it lights a fire in them like others before me have lit a fire in me.
Yeah.
I grew up not seeing anyone that looked like me, in a seat of leadership, not at all. And so the leaders that I had inspire me were in my village. But, we're in a new time, and now we have elected officials that look like us, that come from our villages, that come from our community. And that inspires young emerging leaders, and
Yeah.
even some who have newfound sense of like liberation to say, you know what, you can never put, an expiration date on you wanting to do something that benefits not just yourself, but others. And so I encourage everyone, you want to run for office. My motto has always continued to be that my experience is our experience. Whatever knowledge or wisdom that I've been able to receive to sit in these seats, I want to make sure that it transfers, leaves me and transfers over to the next generation and anyone else that sees themselves being a leader in these spaces. So that's why representation is key. It's not something we should be holding on to. It's something that we should be sharing and sharing freely.
We have these conversations on the sides with some of my friends and stuff, and we're like, how do we get into those positions? Like, credentials do you even need to even get the opportunity to start off like you did, on a school board? Like, do you really need to go through, do you need a degree and all that stuff? Does that all matter?
Oh, it's a great question. I think the first place to start was with yourself.
Hmm.
You have to have a level of self-awareness and self-reflection because you have to ask yourself first why. And then you have to look at what the skill set is needed to execute that job. So for instance, for being a board trustee, as I mentioned, I was already heavily involved. I have 6 kids, heavily involved in PTA.
Mm.
So PTA for me, looking at school board was an extension, like going to the next level, like working and interacting with families and parents and teachers and educators as a PTA officer. I knew that looking at the school board was an extension of that, but at a higher level in a much more public setting. So for me, I had to do my homework. And when I say do my homework, I need to sit in on meetings, I need to see the system, and then I
Mhm.
had to learn the system. And then I had to say, is that something I'm capable of doing? And my answer was yes, 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 yes. So with that being said, I had to tap into my confidence and also look at what does it take for me to sit in that seat. 8 of us went for that seat. We had to debate, and all of the experience of being a mayor's aide, all of the experience that and leadership that I got from that and fundraising, it just actually propelled me and catapulted me to bring all of that experience forward. And I was able to just utilize all of those talents that I've been so blessed to be able to experience. So that is what I would say. You don't need a degree. I want to just tell people that again, while it helps, it definitely helps. You do not need a degree to run for office. There's so many people that have lived experiences that equate or even at a higher level provide those experiences and insight and outlooks that talk to a whole different kind of perspective and leadership that is applicable to do the work that we're speaking to.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, it sounds like you've also done a lot of volunteer, like not getting paid for it, but just participating in these PTA meetings, in all these like community service and stuff like that. Those tend to help out a lot too, correct?
Yeah. I mean, volunteering is a part of networking, and all of
Mm,
this work is relational. It's all about relationships. So when
correct.
you're out there volunteering, you're also building your social capital. Because
Mhm.
when you're out there, in different settings, you're meeting someone new. You're adding that person to, your network. And so the reality is that whatever we do in life, it's tied to something or someone. It's all relational. So I will say that, yeah, volunteerism is key, but that's just something that I've appreciated and know that it's my opportunity to pay it forward. But when you're in these volunteer networks, it does allow you to build your social capital when you're meeting new people who are actually sitting with a wealth of other touch points outside of that initial interaction.
So that's one thing that Fo, that I want you to like let our coconuts know, and myself, because we tend to cross path with so many people that we don't even realize that has connections. Um, what are some
Mhm.
key points to like kind of remind myself, oh, this is an opportunity to network? Because sometimes I'm just meeting a lot of people, right? For like my cousin with the whole apana, you know what I'm saying? She had connection, but she didn't realize that that was a connection. It's just her being engaging and outdoor, an outgoing person, but didn't realize that's a time to network. Like, what are some of the signs that you can kind of teach us? You know what I'm saying? Like to look out for, to like, or how would you approach them to even, for a business opportunity, yeah, for a business opportunity, how would you engage people, you know?
Planning it out, for me, just like I actually, tell my kids, is that you just always got to be ready. I mean, you're bound to meet someone at the first opportunity you step outside of your door, you can meet someone on the street.
Yeah.
So I always say just to be ready, not just to wait to be in a setting of a network event. You just got to be ready
Correct.
to one. They don't do physical cards hardly anymore. You know, everybody's got their digital cards, business cards. People have websites, people have social media. You've just got to be handy with all of that information. But you also want to know what it is you're wanting to promote about yourself. You spoke
Mhm.
to confidence earlier. So it's really being comfortable and be able to have that elevator speech. You got to have like 1-2 minutes, like, what do I want to say about me? And you also need to craft it. Like you need to know who you're interacting with and say, like, this is the setting. I'm going to be in front of a bunch of funders. So I need to talk
Yeah.
about how they would benefit from a reciprocal point of view, how they would benefit from giving back to an amazing program or an amazing initiative and how they would benefit from it, but how also those that are part of those programs would benefit from that. So you need to know who your audience is. But I will say, when I say be ready, you got to be ready to just be yourself. And I think when you're able to tell your truth, people see that you're genuine and they will automatically gravitate to you and want to learn about you. So first you got to own yourself. But I will always say, always have your pitch in the back of your mind. Like, know what you want to say about yourself, but also know your setting, because you're surely not going to step into something to talk about a program or ask for money in front of in front of a bunch of people who are not in that space. So those are just the things that I do. They may not work for everyone, but they have benefited me for many years.
That's some gems right there, man. The last name Anoa'i, does
Mhm.
that the fame of your family, did it overshadow you what you're doing for the community?
No, I think that one, I'm very, very proud of the Anoa'is. Before becoming an Anoa'i by marriage and a mother of Anoa'i children, I will say the Anoa'is were my neighbors. We were the one of the three Samoan families in the Excelsior district of San Francisco, and it was just amazing to be able to grow up with them. Did not realize I would be marrying my Faife'au's grandson down the road, but the Anoa'i name definitely is attached to a lot of notoriety in the squared circle. That being previously WWF, now WWE. And I'm extremely proud of every single Anoa'i that's come through. You know, those ties started with Uncle Peter Maivia, which extended to the older brothers. My father-in-law, Bista Tumwa, is the oldest son.
Mm,
And so he actually introduced this opportunity to his younger brothers, which we all know as the Wild Samoans, Afa and Sika. And the story just took off from there. All of the sons, all of the nephews, from Big Sam, Samu, Tonga Kid, to Rikishi, to now his sons, the Usos and Roman Reigns, the son of, of Sika. It's just amazing because they were able to be the first Samoans really to
yeah.
be on TV. So people talk about people who have, gotten on the screen, and it for me, it's a pride point for me. And has benefited me in many ways when people
Mhm.
hear my last name. But outside of that, I'm proud to talk about the women, the Anoa'i
Yeah.
women on this last name. For instance, my mother-in-law, Iinga Siniva Anoa'i, who is a veteran newscaster out of American Samoa, KVZK TV. She would do the CNN coverage, but many, 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 many have admired her for many, many years, up until her retirement. And she carried the Anoa'i last name. And then we have Auntie Coke, who for many years did youth for service programs here in San Francisco, took to the streets, initiated, so many things that were transformative. And then she went down to Carson and she did the same. And she told that mayor in Carson to give her the job and that she would do wonderful things. And she did that until she took her last breath. And then my sister in love is also carrying the Anoa'i last name, and she is an executive vice president for CBS. So you see the Grammys,
Carry,
you
baby.
the Grammys and you see these amazing programs that go on, and you look and there's Tiffany Smith Anoa'i. So I wear this last name proudly, and I'm a beneficiary of all of the legacy that's been built around it. But there's many Anoa'is coming up the pipeline, and I'm so proud to be a mother of some of those Anoa'is.
Man, with that said, man, I'm going to go ahead and drop a file. Move for the Anoa'i family and the women, because we're celebrating Women History Month, you know?
Yes, and that's why I had to highlight them.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you do. Shoot, you talking heavy there. I'm like, okay. That's what's up. Say I am the part of the residents of Daly City. What is your message to us? Because you're running for it.
Let me be your voice. Just let me be your voice. I am an authentic voice of the people. I believe in the people and the power of people, that we have the opportunity to create change. But change is not made alone. It's a collective effort that I can't stand just on the heels of folks. I need to be able to walk through these spaces hand in hand with folks. And I'm all about the work. You can find me in the trenches. You can find me on the mic to make sure that when something needs to be said, when changes need to be had, that I will be at the front leading and walking side by side with the people of the community. And there's people power everywhere. We just got to be willing to make the changes that we want to see. And that takes courage. And I sit in it and I own it, and I own my truth and that level of confidence. So let me be your voice is what I say.
Thank you for your time. That's all I got. Do you have any questions for the Uce?
No, I just wish you well. I mean, I take really great pride in seeing our people being in their element and really being intentional about lifting our people. Amen. You know, and so any opportunity, you know, when you said, oh, thank you for coming onto my small podcast, I don't think that. I mean, I believe you reach the masses in a variety of ways. And I really do mean when I say I take great pride in the initiatives that are our people, you know, from Oceanic community that really delve into these creative and innovative, you know, entrepreneurial opportunities. I'm just sitting here, just sitting in pride and gratitude to be able to share a little bit about me and my journey with you tonight. So thank you. And I would be remiss if I didn't shout out my mom, who raised me to be strong and who always told me to speak up. And so I've used my voice well for many years, and I hope that anyone that has come in touch with what I do and believe in has benefited from that. And so my voice, like I said, my voice is yours. It belongs to the people. It is not mine. It belongs to him first and foremost.
Amen. Amen. It belongs to him. Man, that's powerful. I'm a fan. I'm just I'm a fan. To hell with Roman Reigns and all of them.
And then I got to shout out my son, Reno, who continues to write music and sing, but he's also serving as a commissioner right now. And so like my mom did me, I take him everywhere with me. And I love seeing him and all my kids. They do their own thing. My husband's a background person, but I love seeing young emerging leaders, because that means we're doing something right.
Oh, man. We are brown excellence. I'm seeing it too. That's why me and Queen got into the whole social media, because we feel like this is the future, you know, with the whole AI talking and all that stuff. And we wanted to capitalize. We want to be able to ride that wave with the rest of everybody else, you know, because we don't see a lot of people doing this. So
yeah, well, more power to you. You talk about, I'm going to get one more plug. Next Wednesday, we have our Pacifica Women's Wave Makers. We have a bunch of powerful Pacifica women coming under one roof to talk about themselves as entrepreneurs, as public electeds, and just out there doing their thing as advocates. So we have that next Wednesday here in the Bay. But tomorrow we have a powerful cast, the Pacific Women's Guild of women from every walk of life coming to show their fire. Veronica Polme. I just want to thank Pacific Feats and Pacific Women's Guild that is hosting that for us here in the Bay. So you should check them out if you don't already know, but it's going to be a crowded room of fire. It's going to be modified and lit in celebration of Pacifica women from all walks of life here in the Bay.
And that's just all the women from the Bay, or that's like all over
Oh,
nationwide?
it's women from all over that are going to be here in the Bay tomorrow. Yeah, it's pretty powerful. Pretty powerful.
Who's gonna be recording all that stuff? Bless their heart.
PV Films will be going live, streaming live tomorrow.
PV Films, is that a Polynesian?
Yeah, and it's women owned.
That's what I'm talking about. Call them out, shout them out. You know what I'm saying?
EPV Films, they will be streaming live tomorrow, and we run Polynesian Heritage Awards. They always stream for us. They've always been one of our sponsors. It's amazing and wonderful to see, our Tongan families, setting the stage for those that want to get into this field. And so it's amazing.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen, for the Uce Podcast. Y'all heard her here. Manufou, thank you so much for the opportunity coming, gracing your appearance on the Uce platform. And, we are out, baby.
So into you.